Hello, heroes! Matt Firor publishes his Road Ahead, which really isn't much of a road ahead, more of a roundabout. Why exactly did LumiTheLock bring a Vet 12 to a Vet 14 dungeon? Nightblaze get the NERF Bat. Oil pots, impulse spam, and Ford camps. Are they getting nerfed? Are they getting fixed? There's so much nerf happening in this episode, you would think we are sponsored by NERF! So let's get into it. You're listening to Tamriel Unchained, Episode 4. So, as always, let's introduce our host. So, to the left of me, we have LumiTheLock, I hope.
You hope. I think I'm here. Yeah, I'm here. I'm here. I'm good.
Excellent.
I'm here.
Glad you're here. Glad to have you for another week.
Thank you.
And then below me, we have Engwar, the filthy casual.
Yeah, and thanks to Esso, I'll be dropping my vampire.
More on that later.
But
And beside him, we have a new guy, Lancastle.
Hi.
He is a man of few words.
Indeed.
So we got a lot of stuff to talk about this week. So let's jump right into it. So Matt Firor released his Road Ahead, and I mean his Road Ahead was kind of lame, to be honest with you. Typically, his Road Ahead usually states what's going to be happening, and gives us a bit of an insight as to what we don't know, except for this one. This one was pretty much everything we already knew. Like nothing. I don't think there was anything new that he mentioned that we didn't already know. What do you guys think of this? Like, were you guys let down as much as me?
Yeah, it was a pretty lackluster freaking Road Ahead, I would have to admit on that. I mean, oh, hey, we had a guild summit, guys. Yeah, blew that.
We wanted to do 2 podcasts on it.
Hey, we gave you a pet for the loyalty program. Yeah, got it. Thanks. Had it for a couple of weeks now. I don't know. It's just... I was expecting a lot more. I mean, come on.
Yeah, usually the road ahead, like you said, Garbrac, is based about what's coming forward and stuff, what going to be. This was more of a road recap of the journey that we've been on than more of what's coming forward. Like, it would have been actually awesome if they gave some type of teaser on what was the next loyalty reward, or a teaser also on what was potentially in the patch after this. Like, there is something that we've been noticing. We've noticed it now in Cold Harbor and in Green Shade on the PTS for us. The bounty system is up in the top corner for the justice system. It's like,
What are you saying?
yes. And it's like, all that we've had from the devs is a post on, oh yeah, sorry, that's a mistake. We'll have the enforcers take that out, but it's still there.
Yeah, like you said, I think the only real new information was he did state that we will be talking about our 6-month loyalty reward, which is great, but, I mean, could you give us something? Like, there was absolutely nothing. Like, he didn't give us jack crap.
Does the Road Ahead, like, come to a fork? Am I given a choice of what I got to... No, you know.
Well, apparently it's a loop, because you went back on itself, and it's like, here's what we did behind. Now we're back here.
Yeah, the Road Ahead is now becoming a choose-your-own-adventure. So at the very bottom, it tells you if you want to go this way, go to page 87.
Oh, I love those books. Those were awesome.
Did anybody read those books? Those books were awesome.
I totally read those
love
books.
them. Read them all the time. I died a lot.
I never died because I always like flipped ahead. I'm like, no, I don't want to take this.
I was in that. Like, I died, and I'm like, oh fuck, go back. All right, go forward, go back.
You always go to the page and be like, okay, well, what's gonna happen? Oh no, I don't want that option.
Right. It's like a maze. I actually wish they'd bring some of those back.
As Engwar said in the pre-show, well, not really pre-show, but in the introduction, he said that he's no longer going to be a vampire.
Nope.
That is because of
Vampires for Life.
City of Ash. It is unbelievably fun and hard. But I'm going to let Engwar explain. Why, Engwar? Why are you going to be a vampire anymore?
I don't know. Maybe the freaking fire reduction I take on my health. But yeah. Okay, so...
Wait, so there's fire in this dungeon?
A little.
Okay.
Maybe.
Just a tad. A tad.
No, so I get to the first boss. I'm like, oh, come on, yeah, there's some fire, but you can see where it's going. Okay, there's like lines of fire. Don't stand in stupid. I get it. All right, I can maneuver around that. But we get to the second boss, and there is no way in hell I'm dodging circle upon circle upon circle upon circle of fire. I just can't do it. There's no way.
Sark and Blink.
Even with a Sork, I mean, you're gonna.
Even if you're a vampire Sork, man, there is no way you're gonna be able to get around this fire. There's no way.
No, like I mean, how many times did we dodge out of one just to end up in the center of another one? Like,
I think it's not only that it's fire; it's how much damage it does. Like when we were in there testing it the other day as well. I'm on my and stuff. We're all pre-mades and stuff. So we're on werewolves. 2 ticks on a werewolf and you're still dead. I think it's more of that. It just seems like the damage is just so intense. It's like the poison from the 3rd Dragon Star section of Dragon Star Arena. It's boom, you're dead.
Oh yeah, it's 900. Well, on me at least, it was 947 a tick. And I mean, I have what 2,500 hit points because I focus most of my stuff in Magicka. It's
3 seconds you're dead.
Yeah, in 3 seconds I'm dead. Like you see it, you're out, and it's not fun. And that's only the second boss. The first boss, if you haven't already seen it, GameBreaker did do the first boss. It is recorded. It is up on YouTube. Go to GameBreaker Nation's website. You'll see it there. We were able to successfully do it, but even that, there's so much fire. It's Flame After knocks off the first boss. The mini boss next to it is doing fire AoE and arrows and a whole bunch of crap.
It's crazy, yeah.
It was nuts, and I mean I'm excited. I mean I'm the hardcore guy. You guys all know this, but what do you think, Engwar? You're the filthy casual. Is this something you're going to be able to do when the game comes out?
Not with a lot of freaking elitists like you, man. No, it is. It's a rough challenge, and like we were talking about last episode, is SO trying to make this game a little harder, but this was hard. This was really hard. I mean, it took us how many wipes to figure out just how to do the first boss?
Well, we were in there the day before as well. How many hours did we spend the first day? Like 3 with Lady Aho. And then we came back again and we figured out that strat working together. And then we got to the second boss. It's like, oh, crap.
The Lady Aho run, and I mean, that definitely we can't count as a legit run because I was tanking. I don't tank. I don't care what you say. That was not a legit run. That was a messing around run. So,
well,
but I mean, we spent probably close to 4. I mean, last night we did 2 hours, so there's got to be close to at least 4.5 hours, and we got to the second boss down to 35%. So it's difficult. It's not easy. And I was talking to one of my friends who's actually got to the final boss on it. Hasn't been able to kill it. She wants me to go in and basically show her how it's done. You know, lead us.
Well, I mean,
yeah, I'm sure.
Lancastle, you were with us on one of the runs. You were tanking for us. What did you think of that?
Well, the first boss is actually pretty easy. Once you get the mechanics down, it's pretty much easy.
Right.
The second boss.
You just go silent.
He doesn't want to say that.
He's like,
The second boss is, yeah, I'm not even going to talk.
It's hell. It's like hell on earth.
It really is. And I mean, let's jump back to this whole vampire thing. What's going to happen when this does go live? Like, are we going to see this massive uproar of vampires going, this game is not fair, this is not balanced, this is totally unfair of an instance? Like,
oh, yeah.
I don't think that's going to happen.
I think my vampirism.
Really?
Yes. Because the thing is, with Werewolf or Vampire, they're doing a lot of improvements to Werewolf, I will say. Like, a lot of nice skills and different things. But for Werewolf or Vampire, it's always a choice. There's the drawbacks, and going into that, you have to know that that's going to be the thing. As a vampire, you're going to have more damage from fire, which actually, the worst part about it mostly is PvP with the fire ballistas, because you're going to be encountering that a lot, where there isn't poison ballistas in PvP that affects werewolves. If there was, I'm pretty sure werewolves would be complaining all over about PvP as well. But as going into either a werewolf or a vampire, you have to realize that you're making that choice of you're going to get some buffs, but you're also going to get some drawbacks.
No,
And
I mean, don't get me wrong, Lumi. I'm totally on board with that concept, as you know from what we talked about last time. But at what point does my choice become an inhibit on my gameplay? I guess that's my concern. When City of Ash comes out and goes live, I do think you're going to have a lot of current vampires drop vampire so they can get through City of Ash, but probably pick it back up when the next one comes rolling out when it's all against werewolves. So, you know.
Well, that's the thing is that it's nice that it's pretty cheap to change back and forth, so you can do that if you want. And as long as it's maxed out, like you can drop it and then redo it, but you'll have to recycle skill points. So it's essentially just like in a lot of MMOs where for the elitist, if they want to do the things, they'll go and respec, they'll go and redo and just spend the gold in order to change the things for each dungeon that they're going into before they go into the section.
But let's go back to a little bit. Originally, I asked you, do you think that we're going to have a lot of people dropping Vamp? And Engwar, you said yes, and Lumi, you're kind of still on the fence as to if it's actually going to happen or not. But if they do start seeing a massive decrease in vampires, do you think it's going to get nerfed? And I mean, I hate it when a company releases an instance or some form of content and it goes, oh, well, people say it's too hard, let's decrease it. I hate that.
It's all going to
love hard content. I think all content should be challenging, especially when it's new. If you can just walk in and go, look, I did it. That doesn't seem like content to me.
It's all going to depend on how much they cave to the trolls on the forums and the whiners and all that. Because, I mean, that's where they're going, right? To get the feel of the community, on what the community thinks about the latest content that they've released. If they're going to bow down to all of those posts, yeah, they're probably going to nerf City of Ash a little bit to help out those that are going to whine.
Well, the thing is also, like, this has always been my viewpoint for doing dungeons and things like that, is I will admit I'm more filthy casual than I used to be, but I agree with Garbrac that I love when doing the challenge. Like, when you go into these tough dungeons, they're challenging, they're tough, but when you get that first boss or the second boss down, you're just like, yes, finally! You feel that sense of excitement and joy, and you have to find that balance of where it's, that's the thing is, a lot of the really casual people, that balance of being able to get it down. Like, I like how a lot of things do raids, where they'll have them at their hardest difficulty for at least like 2 to 3 months. And then once a lot of people that are these hardcore raiders have pushed through it and got their stuff down, then they nerf it. They don't nerf it right off the bat. Because that always sucks when it's like, oh, first week, oh, people can't do this. Okay, nerf.
So you said you like challenge there, Lumi, and now I have to ask you, why did you bring a Vet 12 into a 14 dungeon?
Because
honestly, no. Let me finish. Before you get into your spiel, let me finish. One, this is the PTS. You have a free level Vet 14 character with all the points you need, all the gold, and all the gear you need. Two, it's a brand new dungeon. You know it's going to be difficult. Why would you bring a Vet 12 and be like, oh, well, this is going to work. We're totally going to do this. What went through your head?
First things. I was a vampire on that character. I wanted to see, I knew it was a hell of fun. I wanted to test how bad that was. On the first boss, it wasn't actually bothering me that bad. Although I never got actually used that guy on the second boss. I would have loved to bring him in the second boss.
No.
I had all my gear was legendary already. It was all legendary enchant, so it was all the best I stock gear. I had all my sets set up, and I had all my skill bars set up, so I was already used to this character and how to play it. So I didn't have to think about which abilities I'm going to throw in there, which things. I already knew how to play that character well, because that was my main before I switched to my Nightblade.
How'd it work out for you?
We still wiped. Because our strategy was not, we didn't have a good strategy at the time. We were in there hypothesizing and trying to, that's one of the things is you have to do with any dungeon, is you go in there and at first, you wipe like crazy. And that's one of the fun parts I love about the PTS is you're doing these boss fights before there's all these guides and everything, and you're just going there and throwing your body's out going, what do we do? You're figuring out instead of having to go, okay, just go and watch the video and then you'll know how to do it. It's like, that's no fun.
But and maybe okay, this is definitely the elitist in me, and I apologize if I offend anybody. I was biting my tongue when I found out you were Vet 12. I was just like, "Are you serious?" Because in my mind, and again, I apologize if this offends you. I'm not saying it to offend you, but in my mind, I was like, "Why are you wasting my time?" Like it's just I can't even explain how aggravated I was. Looking back at it now, it's funny. But at the time, it's like, what a waste. It could have been so much better. But
well, to be fair, like you said, that was not a good. That was a interesting one where I was planning on going in there, mostly getting strategies and trying to get a concept, and then I like to think over the fight. Because, like you said, you were tanking. I got to pull an aggro off you at times. I'm like, oh god, it's on me.
You never pulled aggro off of me.
The boss walked up and shot me a couple times.
No, the boss switches its aggro target when it pulls.
No, it was.
You didn't take aggro. He reset.
He did not pull me. He walked over to me a couple times and went,
whoop, because he pulled somebody. And I never taunted him back, because I just taunted him when he hit the chain. And if you taunt within 4 seconds, he becomes immune and all that fun jazz. But, oh man, I can't. Engwar, you were there. What went through your head? Like, were you okay with him bringing a 12 into a 14 dungeon?
He wasn't there for that one. That was.
No, Engwar was there.
No, that was.
Okay, so Engwar wasn't there. I apologize.
No, I'm not okay with that, man. That really pisses me off.
That they weren't there, or that he brought a 12?
Oh, that I wasn't there. No.
Oh.
But, like, again, we're going to go back to the casualness. Would that bother you? Like, if you were trying to do something new and someone brought a 12 in, like, would you not care? And this is an honest question. Like, I don't.
No, I get it.
I'm really curious.
Yeah, I get it. No, I mean, how many other dungeons in the game of ESO, though, can you go in there as a multi-level group and do just fine?
Suppose you could say it like that.
Just saying.
He's like, wow.
Well, I'm on the side of Lumi. Screw you.
Filthy casuals unite.
You guys have your own guild, don't you? Your own little band of brothers.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you shut down the elitist.
Oh no, trust me, I'm not shut down. I don't know how you guys can think. I don't know. I don't understand how casuals think, and to me, I just can't put it. My brain's wired differently, I guess. It's just weird. I have to go in there with the expectation that I want to finish it, but I want to be able to do my best at it. And knowing that I'm 12, I know I'm not the best, so I'd be like, well, I'm not going to do that. That's not worth it. And I understand that Lumi wants to learn and kind of like experiment. Well, how bad is it with a vampire and stuff like that? And being on the PTS, you can't create the vampire as easily as you can on live. So it's I don't know. Again, my brain's wired differently. In my head, it's
how
just like,
how much more badass would you feel about yourself if you walked in there at 12 and beat the son of a bitch?
And as a vampire.
Okay. And again, to answer that, I wouldn't feel badass. I would feel ashamed of the game because I shouldn't be able to do that.
Well, that's one of the things. Is
like I would go to my Twitter and be like, okay, this game is casual. Like this is just not even cool anymore. That
I know what you're coming from.
Brand new dungeon and kill it.
And that did cross my mind, and that's the reason, like I was saying earlier, is one of the reasons why I went there on my VR12 was I believed I could pull better DPS because I already knew the rotation, I already had everything set up. I didn't have to think about anything where if I was having to set up a brand new character, I would have to set up all the different things. I wouldn't have my gear sets and everything set up. I'd have to go and try to craft everything. And it was kind of a spur of the moment thing of, hey, let's go test this out. So I knew I already had this guy set up, and I figured, hey, I can do better on this. Plus, I'm like, hey, I can test stuff. I can see how it's bad it is for Vampire. I can see because someone was trying to tell me beforehand that you can't get in there as VR12. I'm like, I'll check to see. Hey, I'm in here as VR12. Let's do this.
Yeah, you can get in there VR1. I mean, they actually.
Let's do that. Yeah. 4 VR1s. Let's do events in advance.
Let's do it.
I
don't even, you wouldn't be able to kill trash. But that was actually in patch 1.51, I believe it was, where they actually enabled the LFG to allow Vet 1s to queue for City of Ash. And I understand why Zenimax wants to include everybody because that's the Elder Scrolls way. But if a Vet 1 can go in there and clear it, I'm done. I'm done the game. I'm sorry. That's
Lancastle
just
in chat wants to do it.
I'd have to agree with that.
you'd have to agree.
No, yeah, I would have to agree. You can't have a vet 1 go in there and clear a vet 14 dungeon. That's a little silly. But I mean, if you're a couple levels off, yeah, I'm gonna go cool with that.
Should
But
be viable.
13 levels off? No.
A couple levels I can understand as long as the rest of the group compensates for those missing levels. Like say
Right,
if you
yeah.
have 3 14s and then the vet 12, but on the PTS being a brand new dungeon, you want to go in and test the game and see what the mechanics and stuff are. You just don't bring a vet 12. You just don't do that. So the next day we logged in and we brought a DK tank. We brought my Templar healer, who I hate my template character. It feels so dirty and wrong compared to my live character. What else did we have? We had a Templar DPS and
did have
a
a
Nightblade.
Nightblade. Yep.
And it really worked. And I don't know who was the Nightblade. Who did we have? It was
Tobrin.
Tobrin. Thank you.
Yep.
It sucks he's not on the podcast because I'm really curious because in patch 1.51. Essentially, Nightblades took a massive nerf. I mean, the nerf does go to everybody because you can stealth, but the change was the damage done while in stealth mode has been decreased. So when you do that first initial attack, you're not going to get the 3k damage anymore that you used to and the one-shot kills. They reduced that, and it's become this massive rage on the forums right now. And I want to know what you guys think. Like, do you guys really believe that this is a unfathomable change and shouldn't happen? It should be reverted, or do you think it's fair? I mean, you play Nightblades, I play Nightblade, and I'm saying it's fair because I'm vet 8 on one shot and vet 14s.
Well, the question is it more designed to be as a PvP nerf or a PvE nerf? Because that's one of the things is the differential that always needs to be debated is this happens in almost every single game where it has a big PvP section, a big PvE section. Is these nerfs, they're going to have 2 different effects. PvP may be completely gimped because of a PvE nerf. And right now, I know a lot of people that complain about it are the PvPers because they need to be able to burst through a lot of those people's shields. Where the PvEers are like, well, they're complaining too, but not, I would say, as hard as the PvPers.
Yeah, I think it's a PvP nerf. I don't think it's a PvE nerf at all.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Do you agree it is a nerf though? Like, I know it is a decrease, and technically a nerf is a decrease, but do you feel it's a balance change versus being a nerf?
I think it's a balance change. I mean, you summed it up quite right when you said you felt dirty when you were taking out those higher levels yourself. I mean, that's obviously speaks volumes.
Yeah, and I mean, it's brought up in chat. Your stealth attack still gets that instant, that immediate stun from the initial attack. So not only are you getting a guaranteed crit attack, you're getting increased damage by it being from stealth, just not as much as you used to, and you're getting an instant stun. I mean, that still seems a little OP to me, seeing as how you can do the most heaviest attack from stealth. Like, it's just, it bothers me that the forum people, and I say forum people as if it's like a cult, really took offense to this and see it as a negative thing and not as a beneficial thing to the rest of the game, because it's unbelievably dirty to one-shot something that's 4 levels higher, 6 levels higher than me actually.
Yeah.
And it's just how, I don't know. Does anybody here see it as a nerf? Because if you do, I would like to pick your brain for a second. No?
Well, nerf could technically be considered anything that was previous that you did damage, and then you're not able to obtain that same point of check beforehand. So technically, it is just by logistical terms a nerf.
Well, yeah, a nerf. It basically means a reduction of whatever.
Yeah.
But does anybody agree that it's, or disagree that it's a balance change? This should be the question.
I would say yes, it's more of a balance change, and it's more directed, I would say, towards PvP in that aspect, where I know that there's plenty of, we actually, on our 5-hour siege of Glade Mist from the mine, we encountered it with Nightblade snipers that they were working in tandem and were just pinking off like everybody, and it just sucked because we just could not get them because they would snipe us and then go back into the stealth, snipe us, go back into stealth. It was just like we just had to keep on rezzing. There was nothing we could really do about them because they kept them disappearing.
And does anybody see this as a massive change for anybody that's not a Nightblade? I mean, if you run, like, I know there's a couple groups out there that PvP and they're strategic, is what they say. They say they're strategic, but all they do is they're just gank squads. They stay stealth. They wait for them to come. They pop out of stealth. Pretty much one shot everybody. They're not even Nightblades. They're DKs. They're sorcerers. They're Templars. Like, I don't see. Again, I can't even say it's the elitist in me, because I know if I was a true elitist, I'd be like, "What are you doing, taking my damage away?" Do you see any other class really taking this to heart and being like, you know what? This is a game changer. I'm changing classes.
Well, Lancastle, you play a Templar. Do you use sneak a lot and all that stuff?
Oh, I don't use sneak at all on my healer. Basically, in the PvP aspect, I don't PvP that much, but when I do, my main issue is the Nightblades. They always one-shot me or two-shot me instantly as soon as they see that I'm casting heals on the ground. It's like I'm dead. And because they can teleport throughout that whole part, plus the whole stealth factor just drains me.
Roll on a PvP, kill the healer.
Basically, is what it runs down to. Yeah.
I play the dedicated healer. Trust me, I know how you feel. They see that they see that little life beam come from your hands. They're like, "You're dead. You were dead." It's just like
you're a target, basically.
You get stun locked, and it sucks.
Every class.
Yeah.
Dodge roll.
No, you can't do it when you're stunned.
Exactly.
The only thing that would save your life is unmovable, and it sucks because I don't know if I'm doing it wrong and I'm playing PvP wrong, but I never have enough stamina to hit freaking impenetrable or immovable. So it's either because I'm blocking or I'm dodge rolling, but there's never enough stamina. I need more stamina.
Same.
So, still on topic of nerfs, oil pots is getting changed. So there was this big, huge kerfuffle on how detrimental oil pots are when the fact that, oh, look, you're taking a flag, drop my oil pot, drop it on you. Huh, you're dead. My flag. Do you guys see this as a nerf? Again, do you see it as a nerf or see it as a balance change? Not being able to use oil pots on the ground, they have to have a height to them. So I think it's like 8 meters. They have
6 feet.
Meters, 6 feet?
It has to be a 6 feet drop, and it's going to change. Like, I've been talking with a lot of different PvP guilds about this, and it's going to be a huge change. For one thing, the oil farms are essentially eliminated. They can't.
Which is good.
Yes, it's a good thing. It's going to force people into actually tactics of using their abilities instead of just using siege weapons. Because one of the things for oil farms was go into a tower, you would have 5 oil on the bottom, 3 to 4 oil on the second floor, and then 3 more on the top, and everyone would be pouring, just throwing down CC. And as people came in, they would just literally melt away from the oil. But it's unrealistic, for one thing, because I'm going to stand there and take an oil bath and just like, this oil feels so good. It doesn't hurt me, it hurts you, though. But it's going to also, a lot of people I've talked to, the reason that they're upset with the change isn't the fact of the AP farms. A lot of people don't like the AP farms. That's a discussion for later. But is the fact that it was one of the best counters to the impulse groups. Would be setting down oil on the ground and drop it as they roll into it. And so the impulse groups are actually going to be a lot tougher to deal with now.
See, in that I will disagree with you, but I'll wait till you're done.
That's what I got from a lot of people is that, like, I love the change because I believe it's going to force more tactics, but a lot of people, the easiest way for them to deal with the impulse groups has been drop oil on the ground and pour it in front of them as they're coming through. Which I know that there's other ways to deal with the impulse groups. Like, I usually call it for using volcanic runes and try to stagger them and break apart the train and then kill them all. But a lot of people just prefer to be, basically, oil's been the cheap, easy thing, which we'll probably be dumping a lot of our guild bank.
Yeah, like, King Crest was a huge farm. People used to just knock down the King Crest, sit in the tower, and just put oil on the bottom, oil on the top, and there had to have been at least 8 oils just in between the two. And I mean, there's the guilds that will go take a resource, wait inside the tower for when you guys take it back, and then when you go in the tower, they just oil farm you. That makes no sense. It ruins the fun of the game. But on the topic of the impulse spammers and how oil was a big combatant to try and stop that, I don't see oil being that effective. I mean, you have a group of 15 people going and spamming impulse, you're not even going to get that oil off if they hit you properly. To defeat an impulse group, negate and fire
Volcanic.
or whatever volcanic ruins.
Yeah.
You negate them, they can't do anything. It's an impulse group. They have to be together. As long as you're in that negate, they're screwed. Now, if they negate your negate, then you'll have to negate their negate, and it's just...
Negate or... Negate.
But that's how you stop them. Like, because impulse groups in most cases are really dumb. Like, anybody that's in an impulse group and they're all like, oh, look at me, I'm awesome, it takes no skill to do an impulse group.
It's like I said, it's a train.
It doesn't.
You derail it with volcanic ruins, and all of a sudden they're all like, "What do I do?" Like they just start panicking, and they just all start dying. They're a train. You derail it, they're dead.
Exactly. I mean, you cut the head off the dragon, which is using negate. They're done. I mean, they lose their focus because they're like, holy crap, I can't spam. They try to get out of the negate circle, which then spreads them apart, and you just pick them off like they're chickens. But Engwar, you're nodding your head over there. So what's going on? You completely agree with
No, I
this
totally-
whole oil change, or?
Yeah, I totally agree with it. I think it's an awesome balance change. I mean, it's you're going to be utilizing it the way I think it should be utilized, and that's from above, up top, dropping oil down onto incoming, opposing enemies, and instead of just throwing it at their feet just to get around a way to use it. So I think it's a great balance for the game. It's going to allow different tactics. I mean,
How
using
would
it
it
to comp.
work?
How does it work?
No, how would it even work on the ground anyway?
Well, the way
If you're
currently
pushing a
is-
pot over, yeah, you're going to be hurting them, but
Hey,
you're
now
going
you're
to be
trying to
hurting
put logic
yourself
in the
as
game.
well. Well, yeah, but it has to be
That's
there.
what I said. It's like you put the oil on your skin, and it's like, oh, this feels good on me, but doesn't hurt you. Oh. That's how it, like a lot of people are like, for the people that are always complaining about realism and the immersion, it's like it's ruining my immersion because the oil's not hurting me. That I think would actually be an awesome thing. Is okay, you can drop on the ground, but it's going to damage you as well.
How can you
Yeah,
argue?
friendly fire.
How can you argue realism in a game that's based off of magic? I mean, we have people teleporting from, blinking from one area to another, person throwing out heals from their magical
Are you saying I
hands.
don't have magic?
They hover. I mean, there could definitely be a magical reason as to why the fire doesn't hurt you. And, I mean, trying to argue the logic in a video game is very difficult. But logically speaking, no, having the oil dump on the ground, you standing there makes absolutely no freaking sense. But I mean, that can be said for any AOE.
Logically
I mean,
speaking,
if he's sitting over there spamming impulse, my friend, why can I stand in it? He's still fire.
logically speaking, how the hell did I pull out an oil pot from my pocket?
That is very true.
Let's just
Like-
throw it, or a trebuchet.
I was
Where the
gonna say,
hell did that
trebuchet is
come
like,
from?
all right, guys, I got this in my back pocket. Sit up.
But no, I mean, it
It's
just
a
makes
problem.
more sense to have it coming down on somebody rather than just throwing
It
it at their
does.
feet to try and stop them.
Yeah.
It does. Since we're on this logic
It's
train,
odds.
I just want to throw this out there. In patch 1.5, we're getting the Undaunted enclaves and the dailies, and you're able to wear bosses' faces and heads. Realistically, if you want to put that in perspective, you're cutting this enemy's head off and hollowing it out.
No, they're not the actual head, you silly rabbit.
Then what are you wearing?
So
Because
rabbit-
there are
How about
some
me?
masks that actually have the lips stitched shut.
What?
And
Yep.
that's freaking put that
No,
in your head.
I thought they were like just armor
No, it's
done
crazy.
to look like the head.
It is
Yes.
armor, but it's the
They
boss's
literally
head.
said is they take you basically get the boss's head and it's a set of armor, like it's the boss's head you make into armor.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So yeah, just on this logic train, like put that in your head. You're going around scooping out people's heads to wear them.
That's basically what it is, yeah.
Well, you know this game's rated M for a reason.
Well,
There's
who
a-
at Zenimax was sitting there going? Who at Zenimax was sitting there thinking, what else can? Let's scoop out their heads and wear them.
All right.
Like that's just sadistic, but really cool at the same time. I'm just saying, I can't wait.
Oh, I've seen some of the armor models. I'm like, that looks awesome.
It does, but it's very sadistic and kind of weird. Just saying. Just throwing that out there. Logic train wearing people's heads, and it's creepy.
Yeah.
Just I don't know, man. It's
Well,
creepy.
besides oil pots, there's the other big PvP change that's coming in, forward camps, which I actually, before I mention the change for forward camps, got a question for you guys. Who would like to see forward camps completely gone?
Me.
Me.
Mm. Mm.
It would change the
Yeah.
dynamic of the game so much. I think it would be a good
would.
change.
I would.
Would that create more open battles, or?
It would create a lot more strategic battles because you couldn't just essentially zerg a keep, because the people that you get to the keep with, that's what you got. And if you're throwing your bodies against oil, someone has to try to res you. If you're down a corridor where there's everything down there, that person can't res you. So you have to be tactical about how you go in, how you siege a keep. Everything has to be more thought through. It's not just throw bodies at the fire and hope you get it.
Okay, I'll agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah, like the changes to forward camps, I believe on this patch is just the fact that it's going to have a rank level attached to it, which, in all honesty, will not circumvent the trolls who are dropping these forward camps to prevent people from actually properly defending or sieging a keep. So what the change really is you have to be rank 6 to purchase the forward camps. They're not bound. They don't have a requirement
PvP
to
rank
drop them.
6?
Yes, PvP,
PvP
rank
rank
6.
Right, not that. Okay.
Not assault or support. and
So
stuff.
anybody that's higher than rank 6 can just sell them off for 750 gold or 1,000 gold or whatever they're worth right now.
From
so
what
it
I saw,
really doesn't stop the problem. What they need to do is fully remove them or put a drop rank on them. You can't place this unless you are rank X.
I think there is a drop rank on them. I saw some posts in the forums. I haven't actually got a chance to go out and test it myself, but I believe I saw a discussion on the forums that they were actually saying that there was a post that there was a dev post on it. There was a way to circumvent being able to drop it by using the limited forward camp, and they're like, well, that's not going to work. But it seemed like that there was also a drop, like you had to be PvP level 6 in order to drop it as well. Which, if so, then that does change quite a bit of the dynamic of it. Because yes, otherwise it's exactly like you said. These high levels can, like I have, I believe, 130,000 AP right now because we've had so much gear in our bank that I haven't had to really spend much. So I could just go and buy a bunch of forward camps and go, all right, selling forward camps, 10K a piece.
Well, what do you
It
think
would
of what do you think of Mystic's idea in chat there of just making forward camps you can only be used if the keep is under attack?
Well, there was the concept that they had mentioned before of, like, they said that they didn't want to go for it, because I believe this was mentioned at the Guild Summit, Garbrac, about just being able to res within the forward camp, and they said it would cause a lot of back-end lag, was it, or something?
You mean actually reduce the limit you can res from, so you can only res while you're within that radius?
Yes.
They said that's actually a possibility, and they will look into it.
Okay.
But the issue is it doesn't. The main issue with the forward camps, on top of the fact that you can go anywhere, pretty much anywhere, if you're in an active PvP campaign, pretty much every keep has a forward camp in it, even if it's not under attack. But the main issue, which as horrible as the other one sounds, is there's jerks in your campaign on your faction that are putting down troll camps to prevent you from putting down an actual camp that would be useful. So they're putting it in a horrible location and just basically putting it down just to piss you off, really.
We had one that was when we were sieging Glade once that just barely overlapped the sections that we were at for Glade, and then was out in the middle of nowhere. There was, like, at times I know people when they're questing or just having like duels, they'll go and send them out there. Like the duelers, I've encountered them and stuff. I've talked to some of them. They're very good at putting them out of the way, so they're trying not to conflict with any of the actual battles on some of these buff campaigns. But then there's ones that you can tell are automatically. It's like someone put this here for no reason except for to troll and make try to make the siege fail of some keep.
Yeah, and I mean these are people. The people I've seen doing it are Vet 14, and so obviously they have dedicated their time to leveling up these characters, and they're just doing it to be jerks. And I mean, that the rank 6 requirement isn't going to fix that. You're still going to have those jerks.
It's going to limit it, but it's still going to be there. Just kind of like in early SO at the start, there was the scroll thieves, where people would be able to walk into a keep and go, here's the scroll, walk out, here, my buddy's on the other faction, here's the scroll, and then the people would just run it back. It was like constant where people would just give the scrolls to the other faction and run them back. And so you could have all the scrolls in your keep. It's like, all right, guys, we did a good job. We got all their scrolls. And some level 10 will walk up and go, you're an idiot. Here's your scrolls back. It's like, all our work's gone.
Yeah. And I mean, just to go back, and I'm curious because I want to get everyone's input on this. You originally brought up the question, okay, what would happen if they got rid of camp, just got rid of forward camps? And in all honesty, I think that should happen. They should make a campaign that is quote-unquote hardcore and made it so there is no forward camps. If you're going to res, you have to either get battle resed or res at a keep that's not being attacked. Because honestly, running between keeps doesn't take that long. With the level 50 horse with max speed, it doesn't take long at all. But
I like that idea.
what do you guys think? So we know Lumi likes it because he brought this up. But what about you, Lancastle? Do you like this idea? Like, would this be something you would want to take part in, or do you think it's a silly concept and forward camps are awesome?
I honestly, if you got rid of it, it wouldn't affect me at all because most of the time I don't really use it unless I need to get there and consider this bullet porting. And I don't agree with that because I don't like killing myself just to get somewhere faster. It's the whole point of the travel and the danger of what's going to happen. Isn't that the whole point of Cyrodiil?
Being ganked along the way. So
having that possibility.
Yeah.
No, I don't like to be ganked. but
But
you know,
that
it's
threat
still
should
that
always
thrill.
be there.
Yeah, you know, it's like I kind of don't understand why they have many different servers. Why don't they just have one? Why didn't they start with one and just have one huge epic battle so no one gets a buff campaign, everyone's fighting constantly for it.
Well,
so it's harder to achieve.
Well, I believe at the start they thought they would have enough people, but as people lost interest in PvP, because there's a lot of lag. Like I was talking with some guys earlier today, Thornblade's lagging again, where it's basically gets people to like, oh, I don't want to do this. That's one of the reasons I've been working on getting Hadris active is so that there's more PvP and less lag. But I actually really, Garbrac, I liked your idea of, and that's actually, I wish they could actually implement this patch, the no forward camps, create a separate campaign where there's no forward camps and see how people react to that. Like have a special thing, like they have the vet, non-vet campaigns, have a special rules campaign where in this campaign there is no access to forward camps, and see how people like it. Because then be like, okay, we have this test, and we have the level battle level 6, and you have the two different dynamics, and then they can go over this course of this patch. We can study and see what we get back for comments and feedback, and see what people like.
And I like that idea. I mean, I can't pronounce the guy's name, but he was suggesting, what about just putting a limit on forward camps only being able to drop out outside of keeps and say like away from keeps in the middle of a forest or something like that, where there is no primary structure that you can go to. And we actually brought that up in the Guild Summit, which didn't really get positive feedback from the developers. It was something that they just kind of said, oh yeah, that could work. But what do you guys think about that? Still having forward camps, but only being able to put them outside of keeps at, say, 150 yards or 600 meters or whatever the metric is, but not near the keep itself. Because just like Lancastle said, the threat of being ganked should be there. Anybody who played Dark Age of Camelot knows that if you went through a mile gate by yourself, you're dead. You are not going to live. There is a ganker sitting there just waiting for you.
Hi, guys!
And that threat isn't in this game. The threat that is in this game is, okay, if I go out there, I'm going to die because there's going to be a Zerg of like 50,000 people. So yeah. I'm going to get 50,000 people and fight them. There is no threat of being ganked.
And that's why I don't like the forward camps, is because you're creating the situation to where if I die in battle, I can throw my ass back at that keep like that, and we're just going to keep this battle for this keep going for hours. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people like that concept of a heck of a long time to take a keep, but there are so many other keeps in Cyrodiil. Why do we got to fight for this one keep for 3 hours just because I can almost insta-res at the same keep and keep throwing my dead body at it over and over and over again? Like you said, man, I'm old school from the Daok days, so running that long Emon train just trying to get over there to get to that keep, okay, I'm used to that, so let's go.
Well, that's one of the things, though. It's kind of fun at times. Like, one of our most memorable fights for GameBreaker so far was actually that 5-hour siege of Glade Mist, where I will admit we spammed forward camps there, just holding our own, where we just kept on resing there and just trying to hold them off. And it wasn't that mostly that we were trying to take the keep. We were actually laughing at AD the entire time, because as we held them there, EP was slowly taking the entire board behind them, but they were fixated on us, that they just stayed there. They would not move. And so there is that fun aspect. One of the things that I wanted to present as a question to you guys is, this is one of the things that frustrates me a lot, is, okay, forward camps. One of the things I don't like about them is a lot of our guys will go sneak behind a keep and they'll start fire ballisting them and destroy them. You get nothing for using smart tactics in this game. There's really no bonuses. Like, the best thing you can do right now in order to make yourself improve in PvP, if you, like, smart tactics aren't incentivized. What is incentivized is AP farms, because that's how you get access to the higher abilities, is by gaining AP faster. So having a small group and just AP farming gives you access to the better, higher stuff, gives you skill points faster because it's off of the AP things. And what do you guys think of that?
What's the question?
Yeah,
sorry, man.
Fuck.
Basically what he's saying.
I'll let Garbrac say it for me.
So what he's saying is, the way Cyrodiil is designed is, if you've played Dark Age of Camelot, you're familiar with the way RPs and realm points and stuff, like how that all worked out. Mm-hmm. And I think that was probably the most perfect system, and they really need to put something into Cyrodiil that is very similar to that, because it had the forward progression. But what he's talking about is the way alliance points are now. The only benefit to doing Cyrodiil is to earn AP, and the best way to earn AP is to AP farm, which really isn't how you're supposed to be PvP in Cyrodiil. It kind of nullifies the overall scope of what Cyrodiil is supposed to be. The best way to AP farm back in the day, like when the game launched, was to take a keep and do oil farms and just sit there and farm people with oil, because they didn't know how to defeat it. And is that really what we expected Cyrodiil to be? No. But if they implemented a system similar to the round points in Engwar, I'm sure you'll agree, it would change the dynamic of PvP completely, because the higher you get, the better skills you would essentially get, and the APs in this game really offer absolutely nothing. Because what do you buy with your APs? You buy forward camps, yay. You buy gear that you can get for free. You buy siege weapons, which really...
Oil! Woohoo! We would go find so much less oil.
But so I think what Lumi was trying to say, let's get back to what Lumi was saying, is APs are more single-player oriented and not group-oriented.
Yeah. Yeah, I see your point there, because I guess, wasn't the big picture of AP like to help you become Emperor? Doesn't that play in a factor into it also? If you changed AP as an XP or as an experience towards a realm rank, which is what they called it in Dark Age of Camelot, you could progress in realm rank 1, 2, or even factions of that. Yes, that's progression in PvP. I think that would give people more an incentive. You can kind of solo something like that to try and get your realm rank up, but you really got to be engaged in large-scale PvP to get a lot of it, and that's how you get faster up into the realm rank. So if they did something like that, that would be awesome in this game.
Yeah, like I don't know about you, Lancastle, because you don't really PvP as much from what you've said. But as it stands right now, do you guys feel that there's a progression in PvP? Like, do you feel that when I go out in PvP, I am getting better? My character is growing. I am becoming a better player.
I'm getting
or
worse.
do you just go out there and go, ha, I killed someone! Yeah, look at it.
If I do, yeah. Most of the time I die. I suck at PvP.
I'm rushing
I
them
don't
all
know
the time.
why. It's for real. I don't know why. I think it's builds or something, but PvP is completely different than PvE. So it's like you gotta take your brain and go backwards with it, and that's difficult.
Yeah.
So what do you think, Engwar? Do you feel this game has, I don't want to say viable, but worthwhile progression in PvP?
I don't think personally, I don't think the PvP is being utilized the way that ZOS intended it to be used. You know, I think they envisioned something along the lines of Frontiers with Daok, something along the lines of taking a keep means something to you or to your faction personally. Holding that keep, claiming your keep, you know, trying to get all of that kind of involvement, and just it's not. I don't see that kind of enthusiasm about a keep as they intended it to be, because right now it's just like, okay, take this keep. Oh, let's go take that keep. Oh, let's take that keep back again. All trying to, I guess there's some strategy in it trying to counteract either preventing an emperor from getting emperor or dethroning an emperor. I see that gameplay and mechanic around it, but I just don't think it's being utilized the way it could be utilized a lot better.
So what would you, just off the top of your head, what would you like to see changed that would make it feel more like you want it to be?
It's already coming, man, and that's going to be Imperial City. I think Imperial City is really going to change the way people looking at Cyrodiil right now. If it's really going to give you that awesome goal at the end of the tunnel to shoot for. I want to control these keeps. These are my keeps. Nobody's taking these effing keeps because, damn it, I need to get my ass into Imperial City and finish my crafting or something along those lines, you know? I really think it's going to change the dynamics of Cyrodiil a lot.
Well, it's also probably with Imperial City, as soon as you lose those keeps, you're going to lose access. From my understanding, you're going to lose access to the Imperial City. So you're going to have essentially two groups. You're going to have your group, and they're probably going to be coordinated, where there's going to be your group that's coordinated inside of, we're inside the Imperial City, we're trying to clear it out so that you guys can get in here, and then your outside group of, okay, we'll make sure to hold our home keeps so that you guys can get in there.
Well, I can tell you the same mechanic was used in Dark Age of Camelot, and I hate going back to this game a lot, but it's the same developers from Mythic came over to ESO and helped design the PvP here. But the mechanic that when we use it there, we had Darkness Falls. Darkness Falls was a dungeon that you could only go into if you controlled a certain part of keeps in the frontier, which was their realm versus realm. And it was you could guarantee once you had enough to open up Darkness Falls and get in, that's all you did. Everybody like zoned out of PvP and went right into Darkness Falls, and you farmed Darkness Falls until your butt got wiped and kicked out of Darkness Falls. And then what did you do?
So right there, I just want to stop you because this is a little bit of beef that I have with ZOS. You don't get kicked out of Imperial City. There is nothing that will kick you out of Imperial City unless you physically leave.
I think that needs to change, man.
It does.
That was saying right now, we don't know if, because it's still not on the PTS, so that's what they were saying at the time. They may change their mind.
They might. But as it stands right now, the concept is as long as you're in there, even if you don't own the keeps, which is, it's not the Emperor's keeps, it's actual your home keeps.
Right, yeah, your home keeps.
So as long as you own your home keeps, you have access to it. And
so for us, I believe that would include Dragonclaw and Brindle.
Yeah. Not Brindle.
Not Brindle. Yeah, just Dragonclaw.
Just
Dragonclaw. That line.
Yeah.
But if you don't make it to where their butts get kicked out once you lose your keeps, that's not going to give anybody an incentive to leave Imperial City.
Well, exactly.
You log out in Imperial City and freaking log back in, and you're still in Imperial City.
Exactly. And on top of that, it's going to kill. It's going to kill the outside PvP because everyone's going to be inside Imperial City.
Once you open up your access to it, boom, you got no reason to go anywhere else.
Like I'm going to tell you right now that as soon as I get access, I'm not leaving. I'm just not. I hate the Zerg aspect of Cyrodiil.
I'm
and
with you.
if the campaigns stay the way they are, I mean, Children's never always going to have DC Imperial City. I mean, there's so much that needs to change for when Imperial City comes out to make it competitive. I think that's the biggest. I think that's the biggest word we could use is competitive, because if they don't change it, it's not competitive. People aren't going to fight for it.
That's the kind of feedback, though, that we need to give them once it goes on to the PTS, and we start running this thing through the gauntlet and all the wickets and stuff, and say, look, man, it's great, it's awesome, but what is my incentive to go back out into Cyrodiil?
Well, that's one of the things is the biggest issue is right now the buff campaigns. That's one of the things is I've been trying to get groups to, like, the other day we actually managed to take, because the AD on Haters has held all 6 scrolls, we managed to take 5 of their scrolls away, but then again later that night they came back and just took everything. We harassed them, but at the end of the day they still take everything. We need to find ways to get like all sides to essentially give up on just fighting on Thornblade and just attack all the servers constantly. These buff campaigns, like if you have the buff campaigns like you're saying, Garbrac, what's going to end up happening is everyone's just going to go chill and go, I'm in the Imperial City to do the PvE stuff. If they want to, it's still a buff campaign because they're doing the things. Because the other change that they've finally implemented that they've talked about for a couple patches is the buff campaigns will not work if you switch to a different server, like guesting. You will not maintain the Emperor and those other buffs. Those will stick to whatever campaign you're on.
Yeah, like buff campaigns need to change. Like I said, there's a lot of stuff that needs to get changed. Yeah. But going back, let's go all the way back to this whole nerf thing. Another thing that's changing is the impulse. It's getting a severe deduction in the amount of damage it does. What do you guys think about that? Am I the only one that read that and just started running around going?
Was it damage in impulse and damage? I thought it was a decrease in range from 8 meters to 6 meters.
I do believe it's range and damage. Let me just double check that though. I'm pretty sure it's damage as well.
All right, yeah, because I know
it's either damage is this patch or it's next patch, because what their ideal change for impulse is they're going to make it centralized, so the more you'll get more damage the closer you are. Yeah. So if you're a meter away, you're going to take full damage. If you're 3 meters away, you're going to take 50% damage. If you're 7 meters, you take none. Kind of.
Yeah, because I remember the 8 meters to 6 meters, which is reducing the range, because they are doing things to combat the impulse groups. So like that was actually one of the changes. Also, the vampire was they're reducing the healing from devouring swarm by 30%. So you're not able to spam that and heal as good as you used to, which a lot of vampires are already going. But I love doing that. Oh, it's so much fun. Like you'd go into those impulse groups as like a single player, and also you could just pop that swarm, and you're healing off all of them. So it's like you get your impulse, I got my swarm, I'm surviving, and then you die as soon as it went off.
Yeah, swarm nerf. That's the other reason why I'm dumping my freaking vampire. My entire build is built.
Every vampire is built around that.
I have nothing without it nerfed.
Since you brought it up, you're a vampire. Bat Swarm's getting nerfed completely to the point of not being nearly as good as it was, and
30% reduction.
I am so glad that is happening. But you play a vampire. Is this a nerf or a balance change?
Nerf.
Nerf. Well, PvE side, I would say it's a nerf, but. Wait, yeah. PvE side, it's a nerf, but it's a balance for PvP, definitely, because just the spamming is just unbearable. But in PvE, I did have a setup just like Engwar did for my Nightblade. He used Devour Swarm plus Still Tornado for the massive AoEs that I do, and it helps me keep myself up while still damaging everyone around me. I mean, it worked, but getting a hit by 30% kind of, you know.
Well,
yeah, because the difference for me was, I mean, devouring swarm was my heal. I mean, even though I was playing a Templar, that allowed me to fill up. I know, strange. That allowed me to put on my bar pretty much everything as much DPS or AoE or single target DPS that I could, and Devouring Swarm was my heal. I didn't have to take up a slot with a heal ability, but
Well, I know a lot of the people that I've talked to that have complained about the Bat Swarm nerf is actually some of these groups that have gone against these Impulse or these big Zerg groups, and that has been their strat from PvP is they'll pop Bat Swarm just before they engage this big group, and so they can survive in that group for as long as Bat Swarm lasts, and like throw down their ultimate and try to eliminate as many as they can inside this big group before Bat Swarm wears out. Because as soon as Bat Swarm wears out, they're taking massive amounts of damage, and it's pretty quick usually. Unless they're Nightblade spamming Sap Essence as well, then it's like, I'm healing more. Sap Essence is also, I'd say, really powerful in big groups.
yeah.
All right, sorry, I just looked it up. It right now in 5.0, it is the just the range reduction or range deduction. Deduction? I don't know. The range got decreased
There you
from
go.
8 to 6.
Yes.
I can speak, trust me, once in a while. When
You're gonna get as good as me.
So, I don't know. Like I said, I know it's coming. It is for all AOE, any point blank PP AOE, point blank area of effect ability where you're hitting a button and it's radiating from you. You'll take less damage the further you are away from the epicenter of that ability. So it is coming. Expect it to come in. It's not a nerf. It's a balance change. Do you guys agree? Please tell me you agree, because if you're an Impulse fan, I'm just gonna have to get you.
No, I agree.
I do agree.
All right.
Should
What
I
are you
abstain?
doing over there, Lumi?
I'm abstaining.
Abstain.
Impulse spam.
Oh,
I was testing it on the PTS, and because I actually never have used Impulse, but I was actually running around in groups, and we were doing some of the trash mobs in Veteran City Bash, and you can
Yeah.
actually notice a difference. Like we walked into the group, and it's like it's not hitting everything. I can't.
Yeah, I had to
spam.
move. You had to move closer over to one side of the mobs just so you could include them in on the damage. Yeah.
Yeah, like I could only hit 2 at a time, which the reduction stuff, I'll have to wait to see how the groups behave in the Impulse groups, but it may be a big change for the overall, just in, like, it's a good start. And this is only beta build 5. PTS build 5.1, so they may actually implement what you're talking about in the next build or something. Like, there's also talks about the provisioning revamp. There may still be that later on the builds.
I don't think that's going to come in 5.0. I think that's going to be the provisioning one's going to be in 6.
Well, it makes sense for them to do it with this one because they have the provisioning writs and all that stuff. It's like
It would, but if you look at the history of the way they've done their patches so far, like patch 1 was content, patch 2 was fluff, patch 3 was content, patch 4 was fluff, patch 5 is content, patch 6 is going to be fluff. So it's going to have the provisioning stuff. Patch 7 will probably be Imperial Prison. Maybe it'll be Imperial City, maybe, but it'll probably be Imperial Prison, which is the PvE 4-man dungeon.
so you're saying facial animations and chat bubbles are not fluff?
No, I would say that is definitely a core thing to this game. It's all about the immersion.
Hey,
Yes.
hey, I enjoy the chat bubbles. I love that.
I wish the chat
So this is
bubbles were
going to
more
be
than
Lancaster's
text.
only appearance on the show?
Well, actually, this will be perfect for him. Okay, the facial animations and chat bubbles. I know that you like to RP a lot. What do you think about that for the RPing section? Is that going to help a lot of things for when you do things like that?
Well, the facials are not going to do anything because
No, that's
don't really.
NPCs.
Yeah,
come
but
on,
the
doesn't
chat
it-
bubbles will make it a lot easier because then you don't have to type out longer messages. You could just type out short ones and know that the people are seeing them. And
Yeah.
you don't have to focus on one thing, so you can still be moving your character around, doing things while typing, and still have a whole like story progression going.
You can interact in conversation a lot faster because you can see the conversation happening rather than having to wait to come across text and chat. Okay, now I'm going to engage in the conversation.
So,
Exactly.
so Engwar, are you pro chat bubbles?
Yes.
I am as well.
Yes.
Okay. You guys have changed your stance on this because I swear you guys were with me saying chat bubbles.
I am pro
A
chat
waste of
bubbles, but I
development
think
time.
I think there should be an option to turn it off, which there is.
There it is.
Yes.
Yes.
Hmm.
And I wish they were
for the sake of
nicer
serial.
looking, like, because I like chat bubbles, but these ones are just like it's just text. You can literally it's square text chat thing. It's just looks very mundane. But I like the thing of chat bubbles for the fact of like when I'm out PvEing or just kind of running along and someone walks by, it's like, oh hey, nice gear. Instead of like just missing it because it's over in the other chat, it's all of a sudden, oh, that guy's actually talking to me. Hi, how are you? Like I actually see when people are talking to me.
Yeah, exactly.
Where
I
like
don't
PvP,
look
I'll
at
turn it
zone
off.
chat.
Yeah.
I don't look at zone chat. I try not to look at say chat most of the time because I obviously I use the mod where I can run two chat boxes. I got one where my guild and my tells, and the other one's just got my quest information. All that other garbage, I don't even get involved in that crap.
There's a whole section you're missing of the game, dude.
Yep, and I have no problem whatsoever missing that. Lame.
So
Keeps
before
my
we
core list short.
before we take this show off and start doing role-playing topics, which we'll probably end up doing next week, let's jump back onto the Nerf wagon. So let's kind of put a nice little bow on this. Let's go around the table. Well, the internet, I guess. Not really a table. We should get a virtual table.
Play some D&D.
And I want to know what you guys think. What do you think is the biggest nerf that's happening, or the best balance change that's happening in patch 1.5? So we'll start off with Lumi, who's going to have this big long speech about something.
Really? I was just going to say oil pots because it's going to change a lot of the dynamic of the AP farms, and people are going to have to learn new strats in order how to deal with things. If they eliminate forward camps, then I would say forward camps.
So your balance change, oil pots, not a nerf.
Yes, it's a good balance change that is definitely needed. It's something that I believe has been needed for a while, and I'm glad that it's coming in.
All right, because I'm gonna hold you to these. Like as soon as this patch goes live, and you're like, I wish I could drop my oil on this bastard.
Well,
That's a balance change, man.
I'm gonna call you out.
I'm still gonna miss it. Like we were all of a sudden, oh crap, they're swarming the keep. I mean, they're swarming the resource. All right, pull back from the tower. Drop oil. Oh fuck yeah. All right. But that's the thing. Like I've always used mostly oil on the second floor, anyways, pouring down to the first floor. And like I always tell people, try to make sure when they're coming in, switch to volcanic runes and control the fight. Like 3/4 of PvP isn't about actual fighting; it's about controlling the fight. Whoever controls the fight better, 3/4 of the time is going to win.
Yeah. All right. So what about you, Engwar? What do you think is the biggest nerf or best balance change? Again, I am gonna hold you to these.
Oh no, yeah, I think best balance change coming is definitely a decrease on the impulse, because I hate those impulse groups and anything to counteract those sons of bitches.
It's an adult show. You can swim.
Only because I die a lot to those damn bastards. But anyway.
Yep.
But best or biggest nerf? Batswarm. Yeah, come on, man.
Balance change, man. Balance change.
Balance change.
That's no nerf.
He's like,
So what about you, Lancastle? What would you say is the biggest balance change or biggest nerf in 1.5?
Balance change or biggest nerf? Honestly, I have to agree with Engwar mostly. Yeah. Sadly, I mean,
worm so tightly.
So, in other words, you can't think of anything on your own. You're just gonna steal his.
yeah, basically, the filthy casuals.
CRPers, man, they don't take any effort.
Oh.
Why didn't you just say best change? Chat bubbles.
Well, because you asked me nerf or
Oh, but
nerfs.
chat bubbles is clearly a balance change.
Balance change.
Yes, it is a balance change that the game desperately needs.
Oh,
Desperately.
God. Rough
All right,
ones.
guys. I think we've beaten the Nerf horse to death. I mean, we've talked about it. We've
Nerf bat.
discussed it. We've explained that the stealth change is not a nerf. It is a balance change. We have pointed out that Lumi is completely insane for bringing a Vet 12 to a Vet 14 dungeon. I don't think we have anything else to talk about. Do you guys have any other topics you want to throw out there and argue about? Because I love arguing. So, anything? Nothing? Nothing? No? No? Nothing? No?
Well,
All right.
I'm sure that we could pick up some arguments, but we may end up being here for another couple of hours.
Nerf City of Ash, I'm just saying.
No, don't listen to him.
Nerf it.
No, he's a casual. Ignore
Nerf it
him.
so I can get through the damn thing at least once in my lifetime.
Wait till
Before
it
we
comes
end
up
this, I just want to say
live.
there definitely should be an achievement for doing
4
City of
vampires.
Ash as all vampires.
Yes.
Oh my
yeah.
God, yes.
4
Yeah.
vampires should be an achievement because that would be insanely hard, but it would be awesome.
Yep.
All right, guys.
I'd
So
do
I think
that
that's
for
our
the
show this week. Before we go out and do our outro, let's go through you guys and do your shameless plugs. See what you guys have for this week. So what about you, Lumi? What's your shamelessness this week?
Shamelessness?
Show us your shamelessness.
Alright, if I'm showing
No.
my shamelessness.
Oh.
There we go. I'm LumiTheLock, GM for GameBreaker Nation and Elder Scrolls Online, and I'm crazy if you cannot tell. Always having a good time there. If any of you guys are DC as well, we've been hitting Hadris pretty consistently or messing around on Thornblade. Hit me up at game@LumiTheLock. Always having a good time hanging with these 3 crazy people. I don't know why hanging with them that time. They're crazy. I think more than me.
No.
And no. What, is this gonna be a debate then?
Yes.
It's not even a debate. You out crazy anybody. Like there's just
Oh.
there, point proven. All right. So Engwar, what about you? Thank
Hey.
you for switching that camera.
Right. Hey you guys can catch me up on Twitter and Twitch at Engwar Forever. So hit me up. I do stuff now and then. Other than that,
I'm gonna lose my vampire. Oh, you're not gonna cry.
fuck
about
you,
that,
Isa.
All right, Lancaster. What about you?
Alright, I am Lancastle. I'm an officer in GBN. We will be doing hitting some trials, also some Dragonstore arenas. That's what I'm going to be focusing on, getting the guild going for that, and definitely some role-playing going on. So check it out.
You ought to be, that is the question.
It is the question.
I am Garbrac. You can follow me on Twitter at Garbrac. You can follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/Garbrac. If you are new to the show, you know this whole spiel. If you are new to the show, though, we do this show every Wednesday at about 10:30-ish. It's GameBreaker. Always throw in that ish. You can catch us every Wednesday, 10:30-ish, right here on GameBreaker's Twitch channel, twitch.tv/GameBreakerTV. And it's 10:30 EST. Thanks, voice from above. As always, if you are looking to purchase a game, any game, check out GameBreaker.tv/deals and see if you can get yourself a coupon code, because paying retail price is silly. Get it for free, or get it at a discount price. By free, I mean not
At a discount
pirating.
price.
I was like,
Don't do that. It's not good. It's illegal.
What?
Stealing. It's theft.
yeah,
I've seen
I
those
got
commercials.
Dead Space for free. Off Origin.
So, thanks again for everyone coming out. If you are watching this on YouTube, hit that like, leave us a comment, let us know what we can do to improve, give us some questions. Next week, we will be taking Twitter questions, so if you have any questions, just
That's a lot
hit
of
us up
questions.
on Twitter using the hashtag GBTV Live. GB Live.
It was
GBN Live. There it is. See, this is why I need to write these things down. It's right there.
like
So
having
yeah,
a
we'll be
flash
taking these
across
on
the screen.
Twitter. So if you have your questions, definitely hit us up. And I am working on some awesome things for upcoming episodes, so definitely stay tuned for that.
Should we end the show with Garbunny?
No Garbunny. No Garbunny.
Oh,
Duda,
Garbunny.
come on, man. Duda, please
Garbunny.
no. End the show now. No.
Bye.